Welcome back to another episode of Fairies, Mermaids, Unicorns, where we delve into the captivating world of mythical beings. Today, we encounter one of the most feared and mysterious creatures of all time, the Basilisk. Join us as we explore popular science facts, the origin of the King of the Serpents, its metaphorical role in Christian mythology, and the mesmerizing presence of basilisks in pop culture, computer games, and TV shows. Let's begin our journey by uncovering the ancient works of Pliny the Elder, a renowned naturalist from ancient Rome. In his writings, he mentioned the basilisk, describing it as a venomous serpent crowned with a deadly crest and possessing a gaze that could petrify its victims. According to Pliny, the basilisk was believed to be the king of serpents, feared for its destructive powers and its ability to instill terror. According to Pliny the Elder, a basilisk dwells in the deserts of Egypt. It is a small creature, 12 fingers long, with a white crown on its head. His hissing drives away other reptiles, but if need be, it can call upon them. It is so dangerous that if a horse rider pierces it with a spear, then venom from the blood of the king of snakes will rise up along the spear to his hand and will go further, killing both a man and even a horse under him. In Egypt, the appearance of basilisks was associated with the sacred bird ibis. Greek authors even built a rational story based on Egyptian legends. The ibis eats the eggs of poisonous snakes, but as a result, snake emanations get into the bird's stomach. The ibis gets sick, and a new infected egg grows inside it. After that, the bird spits it out of its mouth. The ibis really feed on eggs and can carry them in their mouths. Apparently, hence the belief. Now, let's explore the metaphorical role of the basilisk in Christian mythology. In this context, the basilisk is often seen as a symbol of sin and the consequences that arise from it. According to Christian tradition, the basilisk was believed to be the offspring of a serpent and a rooster, an unnatural union representing the corruption and chaos brought about by sin. Metaphorically, the basilisk's deadly gaze was seen as a reflection of the dangers and temptations associated with sin. The story of the basilisk served as a cautionary tale, emphasizing the need to resist temptation and avoid the path of wrongdoing. Moving on to the fascinating legends surrounding the basilisk's defeat, various methods were believed to counter its deadly powers. A human cannot harm the king of serpents. A ferret is the only thing the basilisk is afraid of. In order to destroy the basilisk, you need to find its burrow in the depths of a desert and throw a ferret there. The ferret's smell and venom are deadly to our monster. Both animals, locked in a fight, will die. Apparently, in ancient times, ferrets were considered poisonous animals. Another intriguing aspect was the belief that the basilisk's deadly gaze could be reflected back at it using a mirror or a crystal ball. Mirrors were thought to possess the power to neutralize the basilisk's lethal stare, providing a means of defense against this fearsome creature. According to a medieval tale, Alexander the Great himself personally defeated the King of Serpents during his campaign in Egypt. Also, the crowing of a rooster, the supposed natural enemy of the basilisk, could repel or even kill the creature. Seeing the crest on his head, the basilisk will fall into a rage that someone else is wearing a crown and may die from this rage and envy. This connection between the basilisk and the rooster led to the belief that carrying a rooster or using its feathers as protection could ward off the basilisk's malevolence. The medieval bestiary generally repeated the description of antiquity, but gradually increased the size of the basilisk. It grew up and acquired new abilities: fiery breath, rabies, and the diseases that it brought with its touch. At some point, the description of the basilisk underwent some changes. In the late Middle Ages, the crown on the head gradually turned into a crest, like that of a rooster. And instead of the King of Serpents, it turned into a rooster with a snake's tail. A separate name for such a creature appeared: cockatrix. In most cases, these two words are used as synonyms. The origin of the basilisk began to be associated with an action contrary to nature. An old rooster must lay an egg that will lie in the mud for 7 years, and then a toad will hatch this egg. The basilisk's lethality is increasing. Now even the food is spoiling and rotting away under his gaze. But since the reptile has become a symbol of evil, true prayer helps to combat it. Well, and the ferret, too, oddly enough. The basilisk appears on coats of arms and in heraldry as a mixture of a bird and a snake, sometimes even with wings or an additional pair of paws. At medieval fairs, charlatans sometimes gave out an ordinary chicken for a basilisk. If you pluck almost all the feathers from a bird, paint it green, and cover it with fish scales, it turns out to be quite a lively and frightening monster. During the Renaissance, many stuffed basilisks were created, made up of marine fish and stingrays. Now let's turn our attention to the captivating presence of basilisks in popular culture. They have made their mark in various forms of entertainment, capturing the imaginations of audiences around the world. Basilisks are not as common in fantasy as dragons, centaurs, or unicorns. Most often, they are a kind of collective image of a snake-like monster. But there are some notable exceptions. In the classic D&D bestiary Dungeons & Dragons, the basilisk has a very unusual anatomy. It turns his victim into a stone with a glance, breaks it, and eats the stones. In its stomach, the stones turn back into flesh, which it digests. Thus, by ripping open the belly of a basilisk, you can make a potion from its gastric juice that cancels petrification. In the Harry Potter books, there is a secret room under Hogwarts where there was a basilisk, a huge snake with a deadly look. According to accounts, it reached 15 meters in length, with the whole body covered with scaly skin, similar in strength to the skin of a dragon and resistant to spells. It had 4 large, venomous fangs in its mouth. The lifespan of a basilisk is more than 900 years. As you can see, the Little King has grown into a giant monster, but the properties remained the same: a deadly look, a poisonous bite, the only antidotes to which were phoenix tears. It is derived with the help of dark magic from a chicken egg hatched by a toad. In the Witcher books and games, there is a lot of information about basilisks. To begin with, the basilisk and the cockatrix are not synonyms, but 2 different creatures. The first is a lizard, a relative of dragons. The second is Ornithoreptilia, the only representative of this class of hybrids. Basilisks are covered with green or yellowish scales. They have a long tail like a lizard and a curved bird's beak. They have 1 pair of paws and a pair of webbed wings that allow them to fly. The main weapon of these creatures is not their sickle-shaped claws or a sharp beak, but a deadly poison, the strongest neurotoxin that kills a person in a second. There are species as large as a turkey with wingspans like small dragons. Basilisks like to settle in damp, dark places, caves, mines, or sewers. These draconians are considered one of the most malicious and aggressive creatures, and their psychic hatred and thirst for murder match only striggy vampires. The basilisk skin is used to make boots and handbags, so despite the danger, there are always those who want to hunt them. Some druids even say that it's time to protect this rare species from extinction. However, everyone who has ever seen this beast does not agree with the druids. Although both the basilisk and the cockatrix are undoubtedly evil and fantastic creatures, popular rumor attributes them with even more fabulous qualities. Witchers know that basilisks cannot turn into stone and hatch from eggs in the usual way, without the participation of toads and roosters. But the basilisk can really be killed with a mirror, if you hit the beast with it really hard. That is the basilisk, king of serpents. As we have seen, it has gone through a long path of metamorphosis, from a small but powerful lizard to a winged rooster with a snake tail, and along the way, it has acquired many additional abilities. This makes it much more interesting than, say, the unicorn, which is about the same everywhere. But maybe this lack of a canonical image makes the basilisk less popular in books and films. Thank you for listening. I hope you were interested in hearing about the King of Serpents as well as telling me about him.